Hello and a very warm welcome. This is the news on Inter International. My name is Justin Bemunyan. Here are the top stories. President Muhammadu Buhari in Amman, Jordan to attend World Economic Forum on the Middle East and North Africa. Alumni of Ahmadu Bello University Zaria describes President Muhammadu Buhari's re-election as testimony of good work integrity that rekindles hope in the nation's economy. Plus, federal government partners private sector to ensure food security. Well, thank you very much for joining us. Ahead of the World Economic Forum on the Middle East and North Africa holding at the Dead Sea, President Muhammadu Buhari is in Amman, the Jordanian capital. Thera's correspondent Adamu Sambu reports that the president, who is a special invitee of the Jordanian king, Abdullah bin Al Hussein, was accorded a befitting reception on arrival.
President Muhammadu Buhari arrived Queen Alia International Airport, Amman, at 11:45 Thursday evening local time. On hand to receive him was a high-powered Jordanian government delegation as well as the Nigerian ambassador to Jordan. There were also ministers of foreign affairs and interior, the national security advisor, and other senior government officials. While in Jordan, President Buhari is expected to deliver an address at the opening of the World Economic Forum on the Middle East and North Africa on Saturday at the Dead Sea, alongside the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres. The president, accompanied by Governor Badaru Abubakar of Jigawa State, will thereafter join other world economic leaders at the plenary session of the event.
I think it's highly significant for our country, the fact that our president has been invited to present a keynote address shows that he's doing something that the world has noticed. The world knows where he met the Nigerian economy and where the economy is now and where he is taking it to. So if he didn't have something to say, something to contribute, they wouldn't have invited him. So the fact that they invited him to present a keynote address at a forum like this is very significant for Nigeria, significant for our president as a person, and then significant for all Nigerians in that we can be very proud of our president.
During the 4-day visit, the Nigerian leader is scheduled to hold bilateral meetings with some world leaders on the sidelines of the Economic Forum.
You know, the president has 3 messages he tells the world. One is, join us to secure Nigeria. 2, help us to work on our economy, to revive it, come and invest in Nigeria. You will get a good return on your investment. And then 3, he will tell them, join us to fight corruption. Let's team up and make corruption anathema, not just in our country, but in all countries of the world.
President Buhari will depart Amman on Sunday for Dubai, United Arab Emirates, to participate in the 9th edition of the annual investment meeting beginning on the 8th of this month. From Amman, Jordan, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
And back in Nigeria, the successful re-election of President Muhammadu Buhari by Nigerians has been described as a testimony of good work and integrity, rekindling hope in the nation's economy. President of the Ahmadu Bello University Zaria Alumni Association, Professor Ahmed Tijani Mora, stated this while on a courtesy visit to the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa in Abuja. Ahmed reports.
The joining to 2019 presidential poll victory by the ruling party, All Progressive Congress, was as a result of the stellar track records of President Muhammadu Buhari in the areas of security, the anti-corruption fight, and economic recovery. These qualities made Nigerians to renew the mandate to enable him consolidate on his vision for the nation in the next 4 years.
On behalf of the over 800,000 members of the ABU Alumni Association in Nigeria and in the diaspora, let me congratulate the SGF for this victory. As the engine room of the administration,
Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, went down memory lane, recalling when ABU Zaria was not just a center of academic excellence, but a mini Nigeria where students from all walks of life coexist and learn in unity.
I had the privilege of been in ABU between 76 and 79. I graduated from the Faculty of Law in 1979. At that time, ABU, by all imagination, was a great university. It was a great university. I mean, you announced your arrival at any given opportunity with a sense of dignity and pride.
Ahmed Ondas Ahmed, NT News.
The coalition of APC support group says the party remains supreme in taking decisions as it affects members, particularly those elected on the party platform. Leaders of the group at a press conference in Abuja commended party faithful across the country for renewing the mandate of APC as a governing party with overwhelming support. To remain committed and focused in line with the party's progressive ideology of encouraging its elected leaders that will add value to the next level agenda of the Buhari administration.
And coherence of the both chambers, the red and green chambers, is a necessary factor for smooth operation and running of the administration of President Muhammad Buhari.
There are positions that have already been zoned. We have the president coming from the northwest. We have the vice president coming from the southwest. We have already, which is known to, is public knowledge now, that the Senate president is going to northeast.
We have been able to sustain the change mantra. We have moved to the next level. So we will do things the right way this time.
Unlike in the past, this time around, the governing APC has the required number of lawmakers at the National Assembly to fast-track development and provide the other tiers of government necessary legislative backing for all-round development. And now from the judiciary comes a report that the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal in Abuja has granted the prayers of the People's Democratic Movement's presidential candidate, Aminchi Habu, that it should serve the court processes on President Muhammadu Buhari through substituted means. And this follows complaints by the PDM that its inability to give the documents to President Buhari is hindering the case. Olabode Ariwa reports.
Presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Movement, PDM, Aminchi Habu, told the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal that the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, unlawfully excluded his name and party logo from the ballot sheet during the presidential election held on the 23rd of February 2019. This, is said, denied his supporters the opportunity to vote for him. Counsel to the PDM, Aliu Lemu, told the tribunal that he had not been able to effect service on the third respondent, who is President Muhammadu Buhari. After considering the grounds of the ex parte motion, the tribunal, headed by Justice Abdul Abuki, directed that the court processes be served on President Buhari through the Abuja office of the All Progressives Congress National Legal Advisor.
As soon as they accept service, the court will assume jurisdiction to hear our petition and deliver judgment.
Meanwhile, the Zamfara State Election Petition Tribunal has commenced sitting in Abuja, where it granted the prayer of the All Progressives Grand Alliance governorship candidate, Abdullahi Shinkafi, to serve the court processes on the APC governorship candidate, Mukhtar Idris, through substituted means. In Abuja, Olabode Ariwa, NTA News.
And now to agriculture, where federal government plans to open up 500,000 hectares of unused arable land under its new program that will allow private sector participation in land clearing for agricultural purposes. And Musa Bawali has the details.
Nigeria is said to have 82 million hectares of arable land, in which only 41% is under cultivation. Research carried out by agriculturists indicates that more investment is needed to open up most of the abandoned land for more agricultural activities.
If you just compare 34 million hectares even under cultivation for tractor, under maximum utilization of 300 to 400 hectares, you can see we need about over 70 to 100,000 tractors in the country.
And the signing of this agreement is expected to address the financial constraints in land clearing.
We are working with Mantrac to open up about 500,000 hectares of farmland nationwide in order to provide, market for our mechanization program.
When you say more jobs, more empowerment, more crops, more food, more industrial activities.
Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Audu Ogbe, appealed to farmers to expand the area under cultivation for more food production and income generation. The initiative is also expected to open up more rural roads in the country. In Abuja, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
In a related development, an 8-man Korean rice investor has arrived in Jigawa State to understudy Nigeria's rice production and invest in the rice farming as revolutionized by the present administration. Awal Muhammad Kazauri reports.
Jigawa State is one of the states blessed with abundant farmland conducive for rice farming. With the support of the Buhari administration Rice Revolution project, farmers now produce 8 tons of rice per hectare, with many rice mills established across the state. This development attracted a team of rice investors from South Korea, whose first port of call is Jigawa State. They commended Nigeria for its commitment to food security through agricultural development.
The reason why we have paid a visit to this site for today is to take a field trip to one of your farms to discuss the possible cooperation options to improve rice production, such as better techniques for rice cultivations, because our facilitator, Mr. Hong Young, and the Kankote Group has chosen the farms here in Jigawa State.
Governor Muhammad Badaru Abubakar briefed the team on the success story of rice production.
We need to have good agricultural practices to produce paddy at the right price and at the right quantity. So that is why this partnership will help greatly, not only in producing enough paddy, but in producing the paddy competitively.
The investors are expected to visit many rice farms while in the state. From Duse, Awal Muhammad Kazauri, NTA News.
Now, development of the culture industry is imperative in view of the numerous social and economic benefits therein. The House of Representatives Committee on Culture came to this agreement with the National Council for Arts and Culture when the Director General Olusegun Ronsewe appeared for budget defense. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports.
Appreciating the support of the House of Representatives Committee on Culture in ensuring that the National Council for Arts and Culture is adequately funded, the Director General Otumba Olusegun Ronsewe said Nigeria's rich and diverse culture could be used to generate revenue as culture and tourism are interwoven.
The reason why so many countries are having good IGR, because they remit money back to government for tax, etc. So whatever we remit there is to build a better Nigeria.
He believes that cultural activities should be encouraged to foster unity and development. The committee commended the Council for judicious use of resources as seen from its budget performance in preceding years.
I remember, if you go back to First Tax 77, you will see, you will remember what National Theatre, that edifice, the role it played for us as a people.
Other agencies that appeared before the Culture Committee include Center for Black and African Arts and Civilization and the National Theatre. In another development, the Senate and House of Representatives Committee on Women Affairs, during an interface with the Minister of Women Affairs, urged the ministry to have its impact felt, especially among women.
Without a zonal intervention to your center or your agency, I think you almost have a zero budget.
If we can't defend the budget, the appropriation committee can say, okay, let us take the decision ourselves. And that decision, you never know what they will do.
The committee also directed the National Center for Women Development to adopt and put into use the correct template for presentation of budget performance and proposals. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
If you're just joining us, this is the news on NTA International reaching you from Abuja. We take a short break. Now we shall be back with more news in a moment. Thank you for staying with us. The National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, has continued to effect plans to consolidate on the successes recorded in the 2018 flood intervention. To this end, a 5-day capacity training was organized for NEMA and SEMA staff by USAID and U.S. Department of Agriculture, Forest Services in preparation for immediate response ahead of 2019 flood intervention. Ilyasu Ali Yakubu tells us more.
The 2018 flood may have recorded adverse effects on human lives and property. The immediate response by NEMA in stemming the effects was commendable by donor agencies and other stakeholders. This was achieved not without deliberate effort by NEMA in building capacities of its staff. This training is to further consolidate on the success and intensify efforts in the 2019 flood intervention.
This training is what is called just in time.
It's a training that would help to enhance and take disaster management in Nigeria to the next level.
Really appreciate. It is very interesting.
Director General of NEMA Mustafa Mehajja said the agency will continue to collaborate with relevant agencies in making 2019 flood intervention more effective.
This is a clear indication of our commitment to disaster response.
Kind of quick foundation that we could help build or help NEMA and SEMA to work on these floods and to try to coordinate more effectively while we're facing this disaster in front of us.
Certificate of participation were presented to the trainees at the end of the program. In Abuja, Ilyasu Ali Yakubu, NTA News.
The Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria is poised to ensure that the first phase of its National Affordable Housing Delivery Scheme, launched in December 2018, is duly completed and handed over within 6 months as scheduled. Managing Director of the bank, Ahmed Dangiwa, gave the assurance to relevant stakeholders when he visited the project sites in Lokoja and Lafia to assess the quality and level of implementation of the scheme.
One of the strategic moves designed by the federal government to make home ownership more accessible and affordable for Nigerian workers is the FMBN, NLC, TUC, NECA National Affordable Housing Delivery Scheme. This program, launched 4 months ago, was designed to have 2 phases, with the first covering 2 states per geopolitical zone and 2 centers in Lagos and Abuja, making 14 states in total, and to be completed within a stipulated time of 6 months. Inspection tour of the projects on this first phase took the managing director of the Federal Mortgage Bank to Kogi and Nasarawa states, where about 95% work has been done on each of the 100 units of 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms in each of the states.
And from the developers' performance, we are sure within the next 1 month this project will be ready for commissioning. And I'm happy to hear from the director, the pump set, the DG, yes, that the off-takers are already on ground, which is the prerequisite for any development that we are doing. If the off-takers are on ground, the PMB is also here with us, that will start profiling them or has to even commence profiling from the information and from the developer.
Ahmed Dangiwa commended the state governments for the provision of infrastructure and other enabling environment for the implementation of the projects.
Under the leadership of Laja Al-Mukura, at least for the kind gesture of bringing electricity down to the site. He drew light for the project from down some few kilometers away into the site, and the site is fully energized now for the project. And he promised also to construct this road, the access road into the site.
The management of the bank will be embarking on similar inspection to other states soon.
And for stories from the financial sector, Olayinka Ojo is standing by.
Welcome to Business News. The Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Ibe Kachukwu, has urged indigenous operators to step up their investment and take over major operations from international oil companies, especially as many are already considering divesting and charting new paths. The minister emphasized the need to double oil production to 4 million barrels per day as against the present daily turnover of between 1.9 to 2 million barrels per day. The International Monetary Fund says Nigeria's economy is recovering, giving President Muhammadu Buhari's economic initiative a pat on the back. The executive director welcomed Nigeria's ongoing economic recovery, accompanied by reduced inflation and strengthened reserve buffers. The Central Bank of Nigeria on Thursday backed Bankers Committee by approving 200 billion naira facility to support and standardize agricultural product exportation. The fund will be disbursed through commercial banks at single-digit interest rates and 10-year tenor. Let's now take a quick check on how the equities market fared this Friday. And that's it on the segment of the news. I am Olayinka Ojo.
The Senior Special Assistant to the President on Foreign Affairs and Diaspora, Abike Dabiri Erewa, has called for compulsory baggage identification system at the Nigerian airport for quick detection of drugs and other dangerous substances. And this follows the arrest of another Nigerian Thursday in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. Oyemi Ajayi has details.
In the midst of the unsettled dust over the execution of a Nigerian widow and mother of two, Kudirat Adeshola Afolabi, accused of drug trafficking in Saudi Arabia, as well as the negotiated high-level diplomatic engagement between the leadership of Nigeria and Saudi Arabia. The story of the arrest of another Nigerian, Wahid Ayinde Shomade, is depressing.
Just in the midst of still appealing and begging and saying, you know, this thing is bad, let's do it. Somebody went and carried 1,138 grams of cocaine to Jeddah.
While appealing to the Kingdom of Jeddah to be fair in their trial, Abike Dabiri Erewa, however, called on Nigerians abroad to abide by the law of the land they reside.
And crime is crime. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter what tribe you come from. So for those tribalizing crime, I think is a sad commentary.
Meanwhile, the Senior Special Assistant of the President received the new Indian High Commissioner to Nigeria with discussions on the need to return stranded Nigerians in India. In Abuja, Oyeyemi Ajayi, NTA News.
And next is foreign news with Elias Ali Yakubu.
Thanks for joining me on this segment of the news. French President Emmanuel Macron has appointed a panel of experts to investigate France's role in Rwanda's genocide 25 years ago. An estimated 800,000 Rwandans, most from the minority Tutsi community, were killed by ethnic Hutu extremists over 100 days in 1994. Rwanda has accused France of complicity in the mass killings, a charge repeatedly denied by Paris. Despite resignation of Algeria's President Abdelaziz Bouteflika, thousands have taken to the streets of the Algerian capital, demanding a complete overhaul of the country's political structure. This is the 7th successive week of Friday protest and Tuesday's resignation of long-serving President Abdelaziz Bouteflika does not appear to have satisfied the demonstrators. According to the Constitution, Parliament Speaker should take over, but protesters want all those associated with Mr. Bouteflika to go. On a rather sad note, South Korea has declared a national emergency in response to one of the largest wildfires on record. At least one person has died and more than 4,000 people have been evacuated. Thousands of soldiers have been helping firefighters from across South Korea extinguish the flames in the country's northeastern mountainous region close to the border with North Korea. That's it on this segment. My name is Ilyasu Ali Yakubu. The news continues.
Tamara Ibiwe now brings a sports update.
Team Nigeria bowlers are set to resume training for their upcoming international events after a successful participation